Welcome to Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico. I'm your host, Steve Ricardo, coming to you from New Alliance Studios in Somerville, Mass. And is the case most weeks, we have Dorchester's own Herb Marsiglio on the engineering board. It's hard to believe, folks, but this is the 40th episode. And I'm not sure how I got this far, but it goes a little like this. When I was working at Baby Loves Tacos in Pittsburgh, my friend Zach Shell, the owner, said, you should do a podcast. So I found this guy, G, and he engineered 7 episodes for me in Pittsburgh. And then I moved back here to Massachusetts with the intention of doing all my podcasts here at New Alliance. But the room wasn't ready yet. So I did a handful of episodes at Galaxy Park in Salem, Mass. with Richard Marr in his studio, which was pretty cool. And then we got a really good thing going here, and all of a sudden, the pandemic struck. And we're on a roll, and I had to go lo-fi for a couple episodes. And now I'm hoping that we're back for good because I didn't really enjoy doing it alone. I'd rather be here in the studio doing it. So I just wanted to give you a little, please, all of those episodes are on iTunes, Anchor, Google Podcasts. I don't know where you're listening right now, but you can find them anywhere. And some of the shows are actually on YouTube as well, some of the older shows. So please go back. I always tell people go back and start at the beginning because you'll get a pretty good idea of what I was trying to accomplish. This podcast really, to me, is about the underdogs. The bands that almost made it. The bands that are like below the radar. There's so many good ones. So as we move forward, I want to focus on bands and songwriters that have fallen through the cracks. The ones that are so good that you have to hear them. And there's a lot of them. Of course, we'll still have our high-powered guests on once we get through this pandemic. But I want to pay attention to the underdogs. That's what I'll call them, the underdogs. And of course, the new bands that are coming out every day and keeping the rock and roll alive. And that's why I'm going to talk to you and play a song for you by Trailer Swift, which is one of the coolest names, no doubt. So to get us going here today, to get our blood flowing, here's a brand new song from the band Trailer Swift. This track is called Raise the Dead.
Out of time, out of time. We've got 'em seeing red, they've come to raise the dead. time will tell if you get out alive and what's left. What will you decide to say? You don't have to feel all these dead ideas. We've got 'em seeing red. They've come to raise the dead.
That was Trailer Swift, Raised from the Dead, from their brand new album called You Are Not What You Do. It was actually just released on May 26th. On the band's Bandcamp page, it describes this new record as follows: 6 songs of progressive post-punk through the lens of Boston's own Trailer Swift. This debut album features the band's experimental genre-bending style with mixed time structures that produce a familiar yet hauntingly new sound. A roller coaster of song writing and riffs are on display on the album You Are Not What You Do. I'm laughing because the way they worded that, it's kind of hard to find original things these days, but they made it sound original, and you know what? That's pretty cool. All the songs are written and performed by Trailer Swift. Michael Crockett is on vocals and guitar, Mike Irwin lead guitar, James Delahanty on bass, and Mark Ballou on drums. Recorded and mixed right here at New Alliance by Ethan DeSalt, one of the coolest people on the planet, in Somerville here. And it was mastered also right down the hall by Nick Zampiello at New Alliance East. I asked singer-songwriter Michael Crockett, who, by the way, is also an amazing artist, and he has a show going on here right now in the studio. I mean, it's not really open to the public yet, but hopefully it'll open up soon. There's a bunch of artists out there, Alvin Long and several others, including Michael and myself. I asked him to describe the song because you could probably feel a little political. There's definitely something political going on here, so I wanted to hear what he said, and this is his quote. I wrote the lyrics to Raise the Dead after we wrote the music because it's a tricky line to sing over for me. I usually already have a song theme in mind, but this one wasn't developing quick for me because I play all those notes. So it gave me time to reflect on what I've been seeing happening in the United States since 2016. All these old ideas like burning coal, clean coal. What the hell is clean coal? Equality issues being challenged, environmental policies being overturned, white power rearing its ugly head into society again. All these ideas that seem buried but were only hidden beneath the surface. Raise the Dead is dedicated to those that stand up and fight back against these old ideas. It sounds like a zombie attack, and I'll accept that metaphor. You don't have to fear all these dead ideas, but you have to fight them. I like that quote a lot. That's Michael Crockett describing the politically charged song Raise the Dead by Trailer Swift. This kind of brings me to an interesting segue, because I want to say a few words here and give you my take on the controversy that has surrounded the Confederate flag. And I don't just mean today. I mean for years and years this has been going on. Years and years. Now, I'm only speaking from personal experience, and I did grow up in New England, but not in Jacksonville, Florida, where I did live for a year. But I seriously believe that a lack of education on the way American history was being taught when I was in school has a lot to do with why it's taken so long for so many people to understand the meaning of the Confederate flag and what it represents. And I'm going to give you a great example of that. I saw the great Leonard Skinner in concert, a band whose core members incidentally met at Robert E. Lee High School in Jacksonville, Florida. It's where the band's from. Just before their plane crashed and killed Ronnie Van Zant and Stephen Cassie Gaines in October '77, I saw them. And they had the Confederate flag behind them at their show, like they always did. They always had that backdrop. The show I saw, they opened for Edgar and Johnny Winter at the Springfield Civic Center. It was only a few months before that plane went down. I'm out there in the crowd yelling for Freebird and Give Me Back My Bullets and all those great Southern rock tunes. Was I aware of the meaning of the flag at that time when I was a teenager? No, I wasn't. I had no idea. I was just an average teenage smoking weed dude partying to a great Southern rock band. I mean, the times have changed now, though. It's not 1977 anymore. People are more educated, and we are in the middle, finally, of positive change for African Americans in this country. It really is about time we move on permanently from this flag and all that it represents. I wanted to bring that up because I know there's a controversy going on in Mississippi right now. A lot of people want Mississippi to change their state flag. And I totally agree with that. I think it should have happened years ago. You know, all of this should have happened years ago, but we were not, when I was a kid, we were not educated properly. They didn't teach us the true struggles of slavery in America. And now it's all coming to a head because there's still a lot of racist people out there that refuse to change. And it's time to change. All right, Herb, let's play a song. Here's an oldie but a goodie from the Modifiers called I Like Her Band.
Guitar and short black hair. She used to serve my beers at Kenmore Square. Wears cool makeup and tie black pants. But I'm not looking for romance. Like a band.
Yeah, while the song was playing, Herb just mentioned to me that he didn't realize that Leonard Skinner was using the Confederate flag. And you know what? A lot of people probably didn't realize it because the original Leonard Skinner broke. Three of the members died in 1977, including their lead singer. They didn't come back until 1987, and I don't know if they still put. I doubt they put the Confederate flag up anymore. I really doubt they do, but they did for a long time. They weren't the only ones. A lot of the Southerners are proud. Very proud. Anyways, that song was I Like Her Band by the Modifiers. That was from the 2001 release of Twisted Rico's Coolest Cats. Yes, I released that record. And it featured the Modifiers feature the very popular Chris Perry, who's, if you're in Boston and you know Chris, you know why he's popular. He's a great dude. And the DeGeorge brothers, Michael and James DeGeorge. Some people refer to them as Boston's answer to the Replacements. I was looking at the Twisted Rico compilation. I only have the back of it here with the track listing on it. And I listened to the whole thing this week. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of tunes on here that still hold up pretty well. And if you want a copy of this, I'll give you my address at the end of my email address at the end of this show, and you can write to me, and I'll get you a copy. The bands on here, I'm not going to list them all, but some of them are Aviso Hara from New Jersey, Quintain Americana, Elaine Summers, Chili Kurtz, Hot Rod Lunatics, Ad Frank, Cat Fight, Roma, The Decals, Christian Montgomery, John Surrett and the De Niro's, Jimmy D'Angelo, Kitty Kill, and there's a bunch of other bands. The compilation actually holds up pretty good. I'm pretty happy 19 years later when I listen to it, how it still sounds really good. And if you never heard it and you want a copy, I put out about 5 compilations, and sometimes people contact me looking for them. Some you can get on CD Baby, a lot of them you can get digital, but if you actually want the actual CD, I do have a stash, so I'll be glad to turn you on to it, because it's definitely one of my favorite comps, because it was the first one where it wasn't all Boston bands. I had bands from all over the world really on here, and it's a good record. And the picture is my old cat Jazz with a paw sticker, the band paw sticker underneath. I was just holding it up for the people that are watching this on YouTube. Anyway, Twisted Rico's Coolest Cats, the Modifiers, I Like Her Band. Incidentally, that song is about Michelle from the Dents. Mr. Chris Perry insists that he just liked her band. He had no crush on her. The lyrics are very funny. Listen to those lyrics. They're hilarious. There's a couple of interesting news items that I don't know a heck of a lot about, but I wanted to bring up because they both are very interesting to me. In the same week, I heard there's going to be a documentary about Cream magazine, which, if you know me or if you know anything about me, you know that Lester Bangs is one of my idols, the great writer from Cream. And I also heard, which is related, that there's going to be a 5-part podcast featuring the cast of Almost Famous. So I'm very excited about both of these. What I'm not happy about is, my first thought was that it's too bad that Philip Seymour Hoffman, the great actor who played Lester Bangs brilliantly, isn't alive anymore to be in the podcast. And even more so, the man himself, Lester Bangs, is no longer alive. I mean, these are two really interesting projects that I can't wait for. I mean, I'll go. I don't know if the theaters will be open. They might be to see the documentary in the theater, but they better talk about Lester Bangs. Cream magazine, if you don't know, they were based out of Detroit, Michigan, and they came around in the late 70s. They were one of the first magazines to really focus on punk, and they had a lot of cool punk bands. They were way in on Iggy and bands like that early on. And I loved Lester Bangs. If I'm not mistaken, he was fired from Rolling Stone because they thought his reviews were a little too harsh on certain bands, because he was very outspoken. And he moved to Detroit, which was really weird when you think about it now, that Cream was based out of Detroit. But they were. And, Detroit's a cool city. A lot of cool artists have come from there over the years. So I mean, it made sense. But those are two things to definitely be looking out for. I also have some other really exciting news here. This show is actually sponsored this week by Dark Horse Public House, which is located at 499 Broadway in Somerville. And their website is the darkhorsepub.com. I'm going to read a couple things here about the Dark Horse to you. The Dark Horse Pub is operated and run by Desmond Grace and his partner Roseanne, I hope I said the name right, O'Rourke. Since the shutdown, they have been doing a variety of things to keep going, including various kinds of grocery boxes for call-ins. They recently had an amazing vegetable box from their place. Great stuff from what I hear. They're also getting ready for modified dining to return soon, but are packing food still, and they support a coup called the Help a Neighbor Fund that allows people to chip in to cover others who can't make the foods end meet. These are really good people. Desmond Grace asked us to deliver this message to our listeners, and this is a quote. To all our regulars and future regulars, we here at the Dark Horse have spent the last 3 months in the keg room, drinking all our inventory and gaining a ton of weight. I resemble that, actually. I can relate to that. Well, only partly. We also tried to make life easier by offering no-contact grocery pickup and working with schools and parents to provide 300 food insecure people a week with fresh food. We're getting ready to welcome you back for summer with dishes and drinks as we emerge into the world. Outdoor seating is in the works, so we'll keep you posted on our website and Facebook and Instagram at Dark Horse Pub. Once again, their website is darkhorsepub.com. My friends in Poor Jim, a Somerville band we featured here a couple episodes ago, are friends with the Dark Horse Pub, and they couldn't stop raving about them. So thank you guys for thank everyone. Thank you to the Dark Horse Pub. Thank you to Poor Jim. And we're happy to have you as a sponsor. And one more time, the darkhorsepub.com. All right, that was action-packed, I guess. Thank you all for tuning in this week, and we'd especially like to thank our patrons who support us at www.patreon.com/twistedrico. Please check out the site and help keep the podcast going. If you want to contact me, I'm at twistedrico@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at twistedrico. And I never mentioned this, but we have a Twitter page. It's at Blowing Smoke BS on Twitter. This is Steve Ricardo with Twisted Rico. This is Steve Ricardo with... I knew I'd screw something up. This is Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico, and I'm your host, Steve Ricardo. I think I got that right this time. Till the next time we say goodbye, keep the rock and roll alive, and we love you, Busy Phillips.